Welcome back to a little bit of cheesier, bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast. I'm your host, Cody Duppius. That is Sam Douglas. It is Friday, TGIF, May 8th, 2026. First episode of May. It felt a little bit cooler this past week, but we're warming up again. I got out, played a little bit of Frisbee golf today. Sam, how you been?
Been good. Been getting out, playing a little bit of real golf. Having fun out there. Should be a good summer out there. Not super stoked with the vet. Paid a couple $100 to hear that my cat is stressed. So keep my cat's stress levels in your thoughts and prayers, please.
So I got to ask here, Sam, what do you think is the cause of this stress? Because you are his only environment. You know exactly what's going on. Is there something that you think he's delving into that maybe you need to tell your kid to step away from, or what's going on?
It's the her that's all stressed out.
That just makes sense. That explains everything already.
Nothing else needed to say. Yeah, I just moved houses. Really comfortable in the new house. I think she's going to take a little bit of getting used to the new house, but had to get her checked out. We'll take care of the kids, and they want an ultrasound and x-ray and urinalysis just to tell me that she's stressed. I'll do it all again.
Hey, man, that's where barn cats will not bite you. Just that, because you can only have such a level of care for your cats. Where, like, the cats that you care the least about, I find a lot of times live a lot longer than you want them to. We had a cat named Lulu. I think that was a good 12 years, which, I mean, for a barn cat, that's a good life there. We didn't know where she was half the time, but she always came back.
Made her back. Shout out Lulu.
Yeah, Lulu, rest in peace. So we got something to talk about. Packers news at the top. Brandon McManus was cut earlier today, so Trey Smack, I mean, the name you got to feel comfortable with, but overall reaction here, initial reaction with the Packers cutting McManus over a month before they even get to training camp in July.
I was hoping that they saw something out of the kid. They saw something, Trey showed up and they said, this is the guy. He's everything we wanted to be. And then, after talking about it, thinking about it, he's not in the building yet. So I like the confidence move. This is a young kicker. Kickers are fickle. More of a mind game than anything. If this is what they need to do to get Trey Smack knowing that he's the guy in Green Bay, then I like it. They know the mindset more of the kicker than I do. I think a competition in minicamp could have been good. Sometimes you can get the best out of each other doing something like that. That being said, I don't really know how much that helps kickers because I just don't know the ins and outs, and it's more of a mind game. So if we're committing to Trey Smack, I love the name. I'm here for the Trey Smack arc. I might get a jersey if he hits an extra point in week 1.
Hey, there you go. That's a good financial investment, I think, there. Get your Trey Smack jerseys immediately. I mean, it's going to be your kicker for at least 1 week, probably, maybe even a few weeks. I mean, at the absolute worst. And this is nothing against Trey Smack. It's just a really weird situation where Green Bay signed McManus to that contract last year, 3 years, $15.5 million. They paid him $1 million bonus here just a couple of months ago, and that was showing commitment. They did not need to pay that bonus. They could have cut him before paying that bonus. So there was a sliver of hope, or they just had hope that he was going to be the kicker this year in Green Bay. And this was ahead of they had an idea of what they were going to do in the draft, which obviously they wanted to draft a kicker because they picked one in the 6th round, something you typically don't see at all. I think they hated Brandon McManus. And I don't know why they strung it out this long where they paid him an extra $1 million and then kind of told him to buzz off after they drafted a rookie kicker who just hasn't kicked on an NFL practice field even quite yet. So I there's a lot of question marks. I think there are some things behind the scenes. Last year, like Brandon McManus and Matt LaFleur kind of had a bit of a griping in press conferences. I don't know if you remember when he was hurt and he had that hamstring injury and we didn't know if he was hurt. He was telling us he was fine, but he was obviously not fine, and we could see it on the field and
We saw it
LaFleur
on the
would say,
field.
I don't talk to kickers. Like it was a weird relationship between a head coach and a kicker, and I feel like that might have delved into a few other relationships in the building there in Green Bay.
I mean, the Packers have had their kicking issues going back more than a few years since Crosby.
Yeah.
This is going on 5 years now, where there's just been a lack of consistency, and we've lost multiple playoff games because of kicking. So whatever we got to do to fix this kicking issue that we have and find some consistency. I don't think we need a Brandon Aubrey back there. We don't need the world's best kicker. We just need someone to, line up in crunch time, hit that 45-yarder in the cold. Smack is a kid from Maryland. I mentioned it last time. He has a high trajectory on his kick, and they say that plays well for college going pro. Is you want a high arc. Because you're just dealing with different athletes at the line of scrimmage. You're not going to see many of them blocked. So it sounds like he has the kicking stuff that can play, and hopefully we got our next Crosby, because the kicking nightmares is exactly that, Cody. There's nothing for you and I to couch quarterback me, and tell him to do better. You just watch him miss and miss and miss and wait for big moments and get nervous and miss, and the guy's talking about getting kicking out of the game because it's really nothing to do with the NFL, but it's important. I mean, it is part of football. So I just want a little bit of consistency back there. Crosby had a few down years as well, and we stuck with him, and it was a great decision, because a little bit of consistency for your kicker goes a long way. Roster spots, we don't need two kickers on the roster. So if it opens up opportunities for someone to get some run, I'm here for it. Here for the Trace Mack arc.
Yeah. And I will say, in those Crosby down years, when they're in the playoffs at the end of the year, he didn't miss those kicks. He didn't miss the ones that mattered. And we saw where Brandon McManus can kick well in the regular season, and then when it comes playoff time, just fall flat on his face. I had an argument with a good friend who's a Vikings fan, which it just so happens that every NFC North fan that isn't a Packer fan just wants to argue that Jordan Love is a bad quarterback. So I got into that conversation, of course. I'll defend J Love. I think he's where he needs to be on his trajectory for Green Bay. But I remember when he said you get a lead like that in that playoff game against Chicago, like that all falls on Love. Like, you just needed a field goal, man. How couldn't he get there? And then, of course, the main answer is he did 3 times. and Mr. McManus is not there to help his guys out. And that's what it all ties up to. When you're down in the playoffs, you need a kick. Like, I would wager to say every time you go back to Super Bowls, there is a kick that needs to be made in the playoffs. Not every game is a blowout. You need to kick field goals. You need to be able to do it, especially when it gets down towards the end of the game. Or if you have a big lead and you have points out there and you need to take them, you need to be able to do that.
It's a possession game.
Green Bay has lost games because of this. They have lost Super Bowl chances because of this. And that's why you can't get rid of it in the game. Like, as much as it pains me to watch Green Bay go out and falter, it's something that absolutely needs to be a part of the game, because it is not guaranteed. And we see it year after year after year. And you just need to find that guy, and you got to commit to number 52 on the roster. That's the bottom line. So it's important, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't want Brandon McManus on the roster anymore. I would have been totally fine if they would have just cut him immediately after the Chicago game, because that showed that is going to be something, or could be a high chance of something that keeps you from winning a Super Bowl. And you're in a window now with Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft and Jordan Love and all these guys lined up. You are in a Super Bowl window. You cannot mess around with guys that have proven that they will not be there when it matters most. And Brandon McManus has shown that. So I think it was weird how they did it, how they paid him money, and then it seems like they knew that he wasn't going to be there, but just wanted to give him $1 million. So that's a question mark to me. I don't know if something happened, and we'll hear about it later. It'll probably be juicy and funny, like how much drama can come out of Green Bay kickers. Go look up Chris Jackie and his relationship that he had off the field. But a lot of fun stuff to go into there. So some Packers news on this fine May. We'll go into some Milwaukee Brewers. I got a little fun segment here for Sam and I. So to this point, little State of the Union, Milwaukee is fine. You look at the standings. I actually don't know where they are in the standings because I haven't cared too much. I can tell you Chicago's been playing really well. I'll bring them up here. I'm not that lazy.
We are 19 and 16 on the year.
Yeah, we are fourth in the division. So Chicago leads it by 3.5 games over St. Louis, who's a game and a half over Pittsburgh, who's a game and a half over Milwaukee, who's a half game over Cincinnati. Every single team in the NL Central to this point, over a month into the season, is over 500 by multiple games. The worst team is Cincinnati. They're 20 and 18, and they were hot as a rocket a week ago. They have an L7 on them right now. So,
Oh boy.
tough times in Cincy. Chicago doesn't lose. They have a W9, so they've won 9 in a row. It's bonkers what we've seen. I expected for the division to be good, better than other people expected. I didn't expect this good. I thought Pittsburgh was going to be a question mark that could hang around, and if they got a bat at the deadline, they would stick in. But they picked up their guys. Pittsburgh looks good. I was actually at the game that Paul Skeens took a perfect game into the 7th inning, and it was actually Connor Griffin's first home run. And Star Wars night. That was a cool experience for me.
All right.
Big dork, if you guys don't know.
Other than the 0 hits by the Brewers for a little bit.
They had 1 hit, 2 hits. I don't know. At the end of the game, because my wife Bree, she always tries to make things positive. She says, "Oh, hey, we almost got somebody on second base." Nobody for the Brewers touched second base that day. And Shane Jerome pitched really well that game. And Shane Jerome's pitched well overall. He looks really good. A lot of the guys look really good. A lot of guys are banged up. A lot of guys are coming back. Jackson Chourio, Andrew Vaughn back in the lineup. Hitting the ball hard. Chourio has 6 hits in the 2 games. He's hitting 667. Vaughn has a home run already. It's nice to see power in that lineup because it was missing for quite a while. But our fun segment that I wanted to go here, because of course a month into the season, you're going to have issues and you're going to have concerns with your Major League roster. Unless you're the Atlanta Braves this year and you just don't worry about anything because things just seem to be clicking after a down year. So we're going to play a little game. Are you worried with the Milwaukee Brewers? So Sam, I'm going to give you a player and you need to give me a 1 out of 10 scale, 10 being very worried, should probably be in AAA right now, and 1 being not at all.
All right.
Tell me how worried you are about these players. We'll start off with everybody's favorite conversation on this show, Joey Ortiz.
10 is very worried, should be in AAA.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be here, Cody. 7.5. And I think it's pretty low.
That's generous.
I think he's walking the 9.5 line. Defensively, man. And I don't think I'm going to change my mind on this. I just think your 9-hole hitter doesn't need to be hitting 300. 200 would be nice. But his WAR right now is -0.1. And I think that just shows the defensive asset that he is, because he is an absolute hole offensively. A good hit for him is a sac fly. I get so jazzed when I see that he had an RBI and a sac fly. That means he got it deep enough for someone to run on. But Cooper Pratt's coming. I look forward to seeing Cooper Pratt play for the Brewers of this year.
I think there's a possibility. I haven't checked in on Pratt to see how he's doing in the minors. What would you say the chances are for Joey Ortiz being even, I'll say, a main contributor, a starter in the playoffs for this Brewers team?
He's worked himself down to a 50-50. Murph loves him. Defensively, the Turang and Ortiz up the middle is on lockdown, and it has been, and there's chemistry there, and the guy makes plays, and he's fast if he can get on, but he's an absolute hole in the lineup. But just knowing how much Murph loves him, I'll put him. I think he's worked his way down to 50-50. Now, if Pratt shows up and Pratt's really good, which I'm hoping for, We gave him all the money and, a good chunk of change. Let's get him some run. Especially, we're not in a situation where we're 7 games under 500 and it's let's try some stuff time. We're also not the hottest. We're not 7 games over 500 where we can't mess with the lineup. Like we are in a position right now where we can make some tweaks, bring up some guys, bring them down. We got a little bit of wiggle room. We just got Churio and Vaughn back. We're going to be winning some more. Yelly's going to be back at some point. Um, so I think we have a lot of flexibility to make a couple tweaks, and I really look forward to seeing Pratt. And if Pratt's good, then I want him playing.
Yeah, I think the glove right now for Pratt, at least what I've heard from guys down in the minors, I'm not watching a lot of minor league highlights right now, but where it sounds is it's as good or better than Joey's at right now. I think the only thing holding him, Pratt, like they gave him that contract and he has not really hit in the minors yet. They gave him that contract because of how good that glove is. Like
Saying
Joey
he's as
has
good
been
as one of the best
solid.
defensive, he's one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball. If Pratt's going to be there already.
I don't know if you've watched a lot of Brewers defense recently, Sam, but Joey Ortiz has not played good defense this year. Like he's had some decent play. He botched an easy one 2 days ago, like through the wickets. It happens, but it's not enough to justify a guy who has an OPS just 4 points higher than Bryce Terang's on base percentage. It's
Hey,
at 443.
Bryce Turang might be a top 10 player in the world right now. So
He is. Bryce Terang is that good. But just to put it into perspective, OPS,
yeah.
like that is a number that averages around 700. So to be a league average OPS plus guy, this is one of those stats to look at to know if a player's solid or not. You're around average if you're at 100. Joey Ortiz right now is at 27. He is the worst qualified hitter in Major League Baseball once again. And to even be in the bigs, you need to be in the conversation for one of the best gloves in the game. But if you listen to anybody talk about the best gloves in the game, it's Joey Ortiz is an afterthought. Like he's good, he's solid, he's not a problem, but it's nowhere near justifying.
So you'd have him at a
this
10.
much a hold.
You'd have him at a 10. You want him down in AAA right now.
I mean, I would have tried to find a solution a year and a half ago, but it's where they're at. I mean, they've soft benched him to this point. They're playing Hamilton and Rengifo more than they're playing Joey Ortiz at this point. And neither of those guys are playing that well either. Like they're fine, but fine is a heck of a lot better than where Ortiz is. Like this is
And
one of,
Rengifo,
if not the worst start I've seen for a Milwaukee starting position player at the plate in my 15 years of being a Fanatic. Like I'm dead serious. It's that bad.
I love it. He ain't here to hit, Cody. He ain't here to hit. He's here to have a
Neither's
little bit of
Brandon
glove.
Lockridge, but he can do things. Like there are a
I
lot of
think-
guys not here to Blake Perkins, which I mean Perkins was he needed to get sent down too. I mean we've seen some bad plate performances, don't get me wrong. I mean Luis Matos, Greg Jones had roster spots for a couple weeks. But it's
Monasterio had a run last year. I think Monasterio, I would have given Monasterio an 11 out of 10 multiple years in a row, and then he did something special for
yeah,
the
but he was
Brewers.
never the starter, Sam. That's fine if your guys on the bench are a concern. That's why they're on the bench, which Ortiz has now worked his way to the bench.
You got 27 guys there, and I'm cool with a defensive stud, pinch running candidate, Joey Ortiz batting exactly ninth. I think there's bigger fish to fry in the world than your 9-hole hitter being a 9-hole hitter. Who else you got?
We'll move on from that. It's at an 11. Third base is my next one. That left side of the infield, just as a whole. So your tandem of Luis Rengifo and David Hamilton. Where are you at on the worry scale?
I was really down on Rengifo, as was probably the rest of the state to start the year. He's picked it up just enough to be suitable. 5 out of 10. Again, I want defensive studs there, and I know Hamilton can be that. I hope Hamilton wins the job. He seems like a Murph guy from the start. I think he opens up bunting for us a lot, which Murph loves to do, and I love to watch. Hamilton has had a lot of really good bunts this year. I've seen him go at both first baseline and third baseline. So that's just kind of tough to scout. So I hope Hamilton gets it. And if Hamilton's playing fine, if Hamilton's hitting, I don't know, anything north of 240, that's fine for a guy down in the order and playing a really good defense there.
Yeah. See, and this is the player that brings enough to the table where I can justify him playing every single day. That's David Hamilton. So I'll put this worry meter at like a 6.5 because I think they're okay just
Yeah,
having Hamilton there just because he finds a way to get on base. He's one of the best bunters I've ever seen. I think like it's that good. And he's that fast too. And
yes.
defensively, he's solid. So he's a guy that I'm comfortable with there. Renhefo has almost been as bad as Ortiz, just a little bit more pop there. So I don't know how much is going to be left. He was hitting into a lot of bad luck, I will say. Those first couple weeks, he had a lot of rockets that found gloves. So where that was never the case for Ortiz. Like Ortiz is not hitting rockets that were getting caught. He was just not
I
showing
think
anything.
whoever
But
between those two isn't playing is probably getting that pinch hit opportunity. It's either one of
yeah,
them or one of the outfielders. So it's I think and you know Murph loves a pinch hitter in the seventh. So
yeah,
I think they'll get playing time whoever it is.
right. And I'll say the chances here for I think there's going to be a move made. I think there's going to be a trade. I think it's going to happen well before the All Star break. I wouldn't be surprised if it's within the next 3 weeks because you're getting to some urgency here on the left side. And you're still 3 games above 500. It's not like the team is really struggling to the point where you need to shake things up entirely,
Yeah.
but you're at this point where you're still above 500 and the left side of the infield has given you near nothing. You have two spots in that lineup that are just every single day. And it's actually baffling to me how banged up they've been, how bad guys have been, and how they've still won enough games. That's a testament to how good Wild Bill and Terang have been so far and the starting rotation. Like you've had a lot of guys step up. It's been Brewers baseball so far. I'm excited for where this team can go, just the fact that they've been able to hang on like this to this point. But when you're talking about competing against those teams in October, it can't be with that left side of the infield as it is. There needs to be a move, or Cooper Pratt needs to start going nuts, or Jesus Mede needs to show that he just belongs. Because it's a slim possibility. I think it's a better chance that Cooper Pratt makes his way to the bigs, but I'm not
Oh,
going to take it out of the possibility that Mede makes
okay.
his way because I think he's that good. So
Love to see it.
third base were Brandon Woodruff, who's back on the IL.
10
9.
breaks my heart. 9-10 in
You
there.
know he's throwing again in a
Um,
couple days, right?
yeah, and if his fastball is 86 miles an hour, it's not. It's
He
what
had
are we
assist.
doing? I mean, it breaks my heart to give it at 9-10. It really does. And I hope he can get back pitching, but you can't have a fastball at 86. You just can't be doing that.
Yep.
You gotta hit 95. You like that's something's got to change with Woodruff. He's had years off. And if it's not clicking, at what point does it? You might know his contract situation better than I do, but
20
yeah,
million for this year.
is he with us next year too, or
Nope.
did we
Just
pick up? This is it.
I think it's an RBer.
I'd
I could
also
be wrong.
I'd also hate to see him get traded for a single A prospect. But if his stuff can't play in the pros, which it's looking like it's not,
Yeah, he
so
won't get traded. Not with what Milwaukee's paying him. He's not worth any of that. So it's uh if he stays hurt. I think he could be back and be fine. It sounded like there's some inflammation, there's some fluid. I'm gonna put it at a solid 7, though. I am pretty concerned just because of what we saw that day. You saw him go back out there, try to shake things out, and just threw curveball, change up. Didn't even want to try out the fastball because there was nothing there. And shoulder injuries are just, it's so hard to come back. We saw Jimmy Nelson, like as a really, really good starter, lose his career to an injury like that. And
It
it's,
takes one pitch. It takes one meatball down the middle, Cody. You can't if when you're pitching in the bigs, you
yeah,
throw one bad one and you're rocked. Like
yeah.
it can happen so fast.
Where if you're Miz, you can get away with it because it's 101. But if it's 86, you won't against any, like Joey Ortiz will be able to hit it. It'll probably be to the left fielder, but he'll hit it. So I'm concerned. Don't have a lot of high hopes. Brewers are lucky, and they've planned for this. That's why they have so many arms, even coming up. Like Coleman Crow was electric, and he was sent back down immediately. That's just going to show the amount of depth that Milwaukee has right now. So Matt
Love
Arnold
the
and the
Coleman
guys, you
Crow
do have to applaud them because they did prepare for this. Yes, they committed a lot to Woodruff, but that's because of the character. You know it's not going to be an effort thing that's keeping Brandon Woodruff off the field. So he's a guy you're always going to want to bet on, and you're always going to want to root for, and we're gonna keep doing that. But just less hopeful as we go on here. We can't see fastballs like that. My last one I have here on the list is Trevor McGill, who was essentially taken out of the closer role, had a really, really rough couple of weeks. Another guy who we've seen his fastball dip, not quite like we've seen Woodruff's fastball dip, but you've seen him lose the 3 miles an hour. Then you're seeing how much of a difference that made.
I'm gonna give him a 6.5, 7. And I was a big Trevor McGill fan last year.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted Uribe to start dabbling in the ninth, and I said we got a guy like this. The ideal version of Trevor McGill. He's 100 miles an hour with an 85 curveball that just drops off, and for three batters and a juiced up closer, theoretically that should be untouchable. Now, if you're throwing 96 and your curveball isn't moving that much, and you can't paint the corners of the plate like you're used to, and the control isn't there, that's not an ideal closer anymore. If you're a closer, you got to have those details smoothed out. You got to be a little bit faster than the other guy. You got to have a little bit more break. You got to paint a little bit better. And McGill has lost a little bit of everything there.
Yeah.
To the point that a slider would do him a lot of good, Cody. A changeup to throw a sinker in it. Dude, I would love to see him using a third pitch more regularly. It doesn't need to be 20% of the time. 10% of the time, if he can get a cutter, it can be another version of a fastball. But I think that would help Trevor McGill out a ton. But if he's a fastball curveball guy and the fastball isn't really fast and the curveball doesn't curve a lot, then you can't be a ninth inning closer.
Yep. The fastball never had a ton of movement on it where he needed the 100 miles an hour to blow up past guys, and he was able to do that. Location has never been his strong suit. It's been blow up by you and then drop a curveball off the table. But he's really struggling to blow up by guys, and you're seeing that fastball straight as an arrow. A lot of them missing down the middle. At 96, it's not going to get by a lot of guys. And the curveball, it's fine, but you see the shelf life of relievers. Brian Hudson, an example. Like if you get 2 really good years out of a guy, that's usually about it. Very rarely do you see like a Kenley Jansen who gets into his upper 30s and is still finding ways to get it done at 91 miles an hour, or Trevor Hoffman, or just guys like that. It's a horse apiece when it comes to that. And I think McGill is one of those guys who found his spot in Milwaukee's bullpen. He flourished. He made an all-star team. But you've seen the peak out of him. I do not want him pitching 8th or 9th innings in the playoffs because I don't think that he has that stuff anymore. Maybe that fastball can tick up as the season goes along, but like Woodruff, I'm not going to put a lot of pennies in that bucket. So I'm going to put the concern at like a 7. I think he can be a valuable guy that can go out and eat an inning in the 7th, maybe even the 8th here in the regular season, but not necessarily going to be a fireman when you get to the playoffs. So
that being
out of all
said,
those guys, I mean, I cherry picked the worst guys, for us to say if we're worried about.
Mhm.
And I mean, all things considered, they're fine. The
I
Brewers have
think,
done well.
especially just going back to McGill real quick, he's a good pitcher. We have enough data to say that he can be a good closer, and enough
Hmm.
data to say that Uribe can be a good closer. And that's what going into this year we were excited about, to have two really good closers. But if it comes down to who's hot, I think that's also a perk. So if McGill is going into October rolling, then I'd be fine trusting him in a big spot.
Yeah.
So same with Uribe. If Uribe is struggling, we do have a little bit of flexibility there having these two guys, but McGill is quickly working himself out of that conversation.
Yeah, like I said, it's all going to rely on the fastball. Like it needs to be at 99 or 100, or it's not going to work. If you want to get more to the nerdy side of it, go listen to Brewers Fanatic. They talk a lot more about the pitch shape and how the fastball looks, and they'll tell you straight up, even at 100, it's not a great fastball, but because it's 100, it's good. But with it being at 96, it's actually a bad pitch, and it's going to get hit hard, and that's what we've seen. So if that doesn't come back, don't count on it. But as the year heats up and the summer heats up, there's a chance that it comes back and he gets hot. So
Mhm.
we'll see where it goes. I mean, I'm not too worried. Angel Zerpa, he's done for the year. He blew out his arm. So we'll see him probably never again. It was exciting to watch him in the World Baseball Classic,
Yeah.
but not as much wearing a Milwaukee Brewers uniform. Bullpen will be fine. They got a lot of arms. They got young kids that are coming up. Craig Yoho, someone we were excited about a lot last year. I think he's someone who could come up and maybe be a factor if he can figure out that location. Uh, but overall, Grant Anderson, I think, has looked really good. I'll say you probably don't like him as much. There are a lot of people who just hate him. I think Anderson is one of the guys I feel most comfortable with out there on the mound, at least out of that bullpen.
I love him for his sixth and seventh inning in the regular season, Cody.
Okay.
Eat some innings up,
Yeah.
Grant Anderson. Take a whole lot of tread off of our really good pitchers' tires. Keep for the innings. We don't need Ashby out there. For the innings, we don't need Uribe or McGill out there. I think Grant Anderson has an awesome role, and I don't want him pitching against the Dodgers in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll see where the season continues to take us, but to this point, Anderson has been one of the better relievers in that
Yeah.
bullpen. I'd say probably the second or third. And stop pitching Aaron Ashby every single day, please,
No
Murphy. Like
kidding.
just
So
just
much.
stop it. Like I want to see this guy pitch at least to the end of this year, but you are trying to speed run this man's career as fast as possible. So, oh wow, it's sun in my eyes. But yeah, that's our Brewers talk. They'll be fine. Not
Hey,
worried. It's
Cody,
a good team. What's up,
you
Sam?
you fallen in love with Jake Bowers yet?
I mean, I don't hate watching him walk up to the box anymore. I think, and Bree brought it up too, which I don't know if there's reason to be concerned here. The hair looks good. I think Bowers has got to a point where he's like kind of found himself. Like probably comes to the ballpark in a flannel. I don't know. I don't see the pictures, but like the kind of presentation you've seen from Bowers this year, I think is above what we've seen in the past, and I think it might be translating to the field. That's my concept. Defensively, I still can't stand to watch him at first base as much as people tell me how good he is at first base. I just refuse to believe it. I it's not there. But he's hitting. I mean, he helped carry the offense for quite a while. He looks good. There's a lot of pop in that bat. As long as he keeps hitting it, not swinging at the slider back door all the time. He's a decent big league hitter. So I'm okay with him in the lineup. Definitely fine with the platoon that you have going with Bowers and Vaughn. Like that's a very solid major league first base. So don't have much concern. And without Yelich, maybe more outfield opportunities as Garrett Mitchell starts to stink it up like people are expecting him to. And yeah. So want to let the last couple of minutes here for you, Sam. I know the Bucks, have their draft lottery coming up. I know there have been some changes that will be implemented next year to the lottery. If you wanted to try to explain
Yes.
us for those that don't know what's going on.
I think this will be fun. You said you hadn't seen the update
Nope.
to so
Under a
the
rock.
anti-tanking policy. NBA
Mm.
does not want teams to be one of the bottom three seeds in basketball. So they're relegating how the lottery system works. If you are in the relegation zone, if you're one of the three worst teams in the NBA, you get 2 lottery balls. If you're the fourth worst team, the 10th worst team, you get 3 lottery balls. So there's incentive to not be one of the bottom 3 teams. So we're going in this lottery. Bottom 3 teams get 2 lottery balls. 4 to 10 get 3 lottery balls. 11 and 12 get 2 lottery balls. 13, 14 get 1 lottery ball.
Okay.
Yeah, teams are barred from getting the number 1 overall pick in consecutive years, and teams are prohibited from having a top 5 pick in 3 consecutive drafts. There's a couple other small details, but that's the gist of it. So the Bucks, who finished, I believe, 10th worst, would have better odds at getting the number 1 overall draft pick than the Wizards, who are the last place team in the NBA. It's a little bit, it can put small market teams in a really bad spot for a really long time. If you are just a bottom feeder team and you can't win games and you keep getting 2 lottery balls and you're drafting 9th, 10th, 14th, consistently because you're just a bad team and you can't do nothing about it. We know the NBA, you need one of those top 4 picks to really get a difference maker for your team. So this is a drastic shift in the lottery starting 2027. It doesn't come into effect this year. The 2026 NBA draft is going on Sunday, and the Bucks are going to learn a lot about where the direction of the team is going after that.
I don't know if I like that so much. Like you said, you can suck for a really, 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 really long time with that. Like there is a wild difference between your bottom 3 teams and then your 11th and 12th teams. And you're going to put them and give them the same amount of chances as having that top 5 pick. That's insanity to me. I don't like that at all. That doesn't make any sense. And once again, then if you're sitting in that 11 and 12 spot, wouldn't you want to try to tank to get down to that bottom tier again? Like you're kind of playing that. But I mean,
those are playing teams, and if you can get in the playoffs, you have a new season. You give yourself a best out of 7 series. I think the competitive edging guys will always just get us in the plan. Give us a chance. We'll do so. I think that'll come alive for some of these competitors. But if you're injured, say the Bucks are in that the 12 spot and Giannis goes down. Then maybe there is incentive to just not even get in the play-in. So I don't know. It's a major shakeup, and we're not going to see the repercussions of it for another 4 or 5 years. But it is a drastic change to how the lottery system's working. Unlike anything in any other sport, every NFL worst team, first pick, but basketball, the tanking situation was going on. Just because you play 5 guys and 1 guy can make that much more of a difference. The prospects go back to junior and high school. Something had to change. Adam Silver's made a too big of a change.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it's great. Maybe I'm an idiot. Real quick, what are the chances the Bucks do it right here in the offseason?
They have a really good start with Taylor Jenkins. I'm excited to see what happens with the Bucks this offseason. We are done with the 2026 season. 2027, we up, baby.
Sweet. Jacob Mizorowski, Max Fried on tonight for New York Yankees at Milwaukee Brewers. We'll have that on. We'll recap it when we're back on A Little Bit of Cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast.